everyone, and welcome to my craft room. I'm just finishing up cleaning up my craft desk after a big card making session. I did a video, which I think it was the last video, where I made a card that was designed or that was inspired by a vintage greeting card, and you can watch that video. I can put a link to it. It was a lot of fun to try. I've always wanted to try that because I love vintage greeting cards. So I did that, and then I've also just been making a lot of cards for people lately, and so I just got those sent off. And now before I start anything new, I like to kind of clean up my desk. So it was really messy before. So right now I'm just still kind of working on cleaning up the remnants of everything else. I had to clean off my stencils, so I'm just going to put those back. I put them back in the packaging that they came in. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of leaving all of my stamps and everything I used out because I want to log them into the Color My Life app. I had heard, I think it was last month. Oh, this doesn't go in here. It goes here. I heard last month that they were actually going to get a web version of the Color My Life. Like you'd be able to go on your home computer or whatever to kind of organize your Color My Life catalog. So I don't know if any of you have heard, you've probably heard of Color My Life. It's an app that you can use to kind of catalog all of your craft products. And it's a really great idea because you can sometimes forget what you have. I've tried a few times to kind of start logging things, and I've decided once they got that web version going, I really wanted to take it seriously and kind of get all of my stamps. I'm just going to do, you can catalog everything. You can catalog stamps, stencils, paper, markers, pens, whatever you work with. And you just sign up for the app. They have a free version and a paid version. The paid version is not that much, and it's definitely worth getting, I think. But you can log all of the products you have, and then you can add different codes to them and different tags and really kind of keep track of everything. And then you can organize your projects and kind of try different things. And then, if you're looking to make a card or something that is for a birthday and you want a cake on it, you can, type in cake and you can find all the stamps that have a cake on it. I don't know. It's just all different ways you can catalog. So I've decided before I put anything away, I'm going to log it into the Color My Life app so that I've got it in there and I'm ready to go with it. Also, once I get done logging the Color My Life app, I'm going through my stamps again, and I've decided I need to do just another little bit of a de-stash with my stamps. I think there's still a few that I'm not using as much. So I've actually kind of started a basket here because I was doing so many card making projects. So I was pulling out all kinds of stamps. So as I was kind of going through, I was kind of throwing some things in this basket. Usually when I do a de-stash, I'll pull the thing and then put it in the basket, and then I'll go back to the basket later and decide, is that really something I want to get rid of, or is that something I still want to keep? And then I'll usually do that a couple of times to make sure that that's something that I really want to let go of. But I have so many, of the same type of thing. I think, when you start getting into stamps and paper crafting, that kind of thing, you can kind of fall into the trends, which I know I did. And then once you've been doing it for many years, you kind of figure out what you're really interested in and what you're really going to use. Oh, and one other thing with the Color My Life, the great thing about it is you can catalog so many different things. But I think for me, to make it easy for me, I'm just going to catalog my stamps and my dies. So like just my freestanding dies here. Everything else, I know what I have. Like I can look up where my cardstock is, and I can kind of see, okay, I have a lot of different red cardstock. I'll just go through and kind of find the one that I want. And then as far as pattern paper is concerned, there's no way I could catalog all that. So I guess the fun of working with it is kind of flipping through and finding what you need. But so I'm just going to kind of leave it to stamps and dies. But I don't know. I just thought that's really something that I should do, is kind of really seriously get those things cataloged. So I'm just kind of, like I said, putting stuff away right now. I have a huge pile of cardstock that I have to put back into their spots. I was trying different things with these 6x6 paper pads. So these can all go back. I was going to do a video on going through my 6x6 paper pads to find papers for collage, because I really like, this is a Spellbinders paper pad that I got. Their papers are very thin, and I like that. It's good for putting on the front of cards, but then it's also good for collage. I don't like a super thick paper for collage because I feel like it gets too thick on the paper that you're putting it on. So I like kind of a thinner paper like this. So I thought maybe I'll go through my paper pads and just kind of pull some pages, kind of like I did with my 12 by 12 paper pads, and sort of pull them apart and organize them that way. I don't think I'm going to pull all the papers out of these paper pads. I'm going to kind of leave them where they are because that would just be too many. But I don't know. I just thought I'd kind of go through them again and get some inspiration for some collages. I have a masterboard that I made. I'll show you in a second, that I had a lot of fun with. I added some Maggie Holmes stuff and some K & Company stuff. So that was a lot of fun to put together, and had a kind of a different look to it that I really liked. But yeah, anyway, so I'm just kind of trying to put this stuff away. As I was making the latest cards that I was making, I started a new little basket. Let me show you this here. I've talked about keeping, let's see, it's this drawer here. I've talked about keeping kind of little baskets in this drawer for embellishments. And I have die cut flowers in this one, but I don't really have any other area that I keep my regular, like my kind of random die cuts that I've cut before. So say you make a card and you cut out a bunch of frames, or you have some little circles or things like that. I do have like a little extras basket for larger pieces, but I've decided I needed a little basket for little frames and things, and little like tinier pieces that would get lost in a bigger basket. So I thought this would be a good spot in this drawer. And I only have 2 pieces in here right now, but I was experimenting with these little frames, and I trimmed them out of some 6x6 pattern paper, but then decided not to use it. But I still think I could make a project with this. So I'm just going to throw it in here and then start filling this up with little extra die cuts that I trim out. I always use my flower die cuts a lot. In fact, I probably need to add more to this because I only have a couple left. But this has been really handy too. And I have a video, I did this a couple years ago, of just everything that's in these drawers. And I talk about my embellishment drawer too, and kind of what I like to keep around for cards and journaling and that kind of thing. These are this was from the last video. I need to put these away, but I think I'm going to log them first. So I got to keep these off to the side. I had just kind of gone through my stamps to kind of find some sort of vintagey style sentiments that I was using for the card that was inspired by the vintage greeting card. And so I've got these here that are really cute. So as I was looking for these, I ended up, pulling out more stamps that I didn't use. So that was nice. So I'm going to put these here so I can log them. And then I'm going to put these things away. And I have this random piece of plastic that I don't know what it goes to. So I usually just put it off to the side and hope that something shows up that it belongs in. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, I have decided, I finally figured out how to use my printer where you load the paper from the back. And that has always given me a really hard time because I couldn't figure out, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't, but I was doing different things to get it to work that I couldn't remember what I did. So I ended up figuring out how to use my printer, and that's kind of opened up a world as far as digital printing is concerned, because I've been always wanting to print out die cuts and things from Etsy shops that have really cute printables. And sometimes you can't always find the pattern paper that you want exactly, but Etsy has a ton of options. And I found these papers from Amity. Oh, I'll put the link down below. It's I can't remember it. When I edit the video, I'll add it to I'll add the text to the frame. But I really love her stuff. She has these really pretty printables that are kind of brightly colored florals, a lot of vintage wallpaper. And I was really wanting to have some of these for printables and ephemera. And so once I figured out my printer, I went ahead and ordered some. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to talk about paper you use for printables, because I was kind of looking up, because if I'm going to get a printable, I want to make sure it's going to print out really bright and perfect. And in the past, I think it was Kitty Witty Papercraft had talked about this brand from Staples of photo paper. She said photo paper is really good to print printables out with. You get a really nice, crisp and clean and bright printout. And this is definitely my favorite paper to use. So it's a Staples Ultra Premium Photo Paper. And I haven't used this on here because I had some other papers I was trying, and then I couldn't remember which one was which. So I just have this one, use this, and I know this is the one. But this is kind of a thicker paper. So it's about the thickness. It's a little thicker than a really nice quality scrapbook paper. So this is really good for die cuts, little ephemera pieces. So I printed out one of the pages here that are some tags, and you can see how pretty these are. And I actually did a sample of regular printer paper, so you can kind of see. Actually, I don't think I did it. I'll show you with this other pattern here. But this paper is nice and thick, so it's perfect for tags. And I think these are little pockets, so I can add these to journals too. And I'm kind of inspired by all these colors, and I think this is kind of going to be my next journal style, just with these really bright blues and reds and greens. But this is the Staples photo paper. But what I wanted too was to have papers that I could use for collaging. And, collage papers, I think they work really well when they're a little bit thinner. And I was looking around for because photo paper is good for printing. So I was looking for a thin photo paper, and I don't know how I came across this one, but this is I've never heard of this brand. This is Koala brand double-sided matte photo paper. So you want the matte photo paper, but it's really thin. It's like maybe a tiny bit thicker than a piece of printer paper. But it works great if you want to print out the types of printables that are the kind of the journal papers. And I'm trying to think of what else. You can get printables of actual, journals that you can put together. And I think some of this type of thinner paper would be good for that too. But this is an example of what I printed out on photo paper versus regular inkjet printer paper. And let me make sure I have the right one. So this is the photo paper. This is the inkjet paper. And I mean, the inkjet isn't bad, but you can definitely tell if you put here, I'll put these two flowers together up here. So you can see this is so much brighter than this one. This isn't bad. I mean, this looks okay, but if you see what you can get with the photo paper, you definitely would want this one. So I'm really excited to have found this, because now I can print out a bunch of different kinds of journal pages too. And this is just another one of the papers that I got. This is vintage wallpaper borders. And I thought these would be really nice for little bands inside my journals. Where you can tuck ephemera in and then you attach it on the top and the bottom. I thought these are just so pretty. So these are going to be really fun to work with. I still have a few other ones I can print out, but I'm just going to wait and kind of see what I want to use. But you can try this. I know there's other people recommend different things. And I think it also depends on your printer too. I have an Epson printer. So there may be a difference, I don't know, between, is it a Canon or Epson? And then I'm not sure what the other kinds of printers are. So that there may be a difference there. So you might want to check out some other videos of people that have the type of printer you have. But I'm excited that I finally figured out what paper works for me. So this is the master board I was talking about. I ended up using one of these scrapbook holder things to keep my masterboards in. I did this one a long time ago that I'm trying to figure out how I want to cut it apart or what I want to use it for. I think this might be in a masculine journal. I'll probably cut these apart and make journal cards out of them. But I love this one. This is, I used some K & Company die cuts and then some pieces from Taperology, the ephemera kit that I got recently. And this kind of paper doily background is from that too. And then I used just some old Maggie Holmes ephemera pieces, the bird, and then this over here. So it's just from a lot of older Maggie Holmes ephemera kits. So I have a lot of those that I need to use up. So I thought this turned out really, really nicely. And I was thinking there's a couple, I want to get started on a couple of journals. I want to do a couple at the same time because I thought it'd be fun to have kind of 2 or 3 going at once. And then if you get tired of making one or putting, you know, ephemera in one, you can move on to a different one that's a totally different style. And I think that's what keeps it interesting too. So I'm inspired by this to make kind of more of a shabby chic style journal, more of like a bright white background type journal. And then I also pulled out, this is one of the first journals I ever made, and I did a ring style journal. And I've always loved this journal. I don't know if I love the rings as much because it's more difficult to open, but I just love all the colors that I chose in here. So my other journal, I think it's going to be kind of a repeat of this one, just sticking to these just kind of fun garden colors. So a little more, I don't know, it'll be different. This one will be kind of a little more, I guess you would say like a French style or something like this. This is just more, a little bit brighter colors with that crisp white background. So I think I'm going to do a journal like that. And then I have a couple of options for covers. I have these Reader's Digest condensed books that I had gotten quite a while back. And I really like the cover on this one. This is a bright yellow. And I think I might just keep the spine the way it is, but then maybe gesso over it and then do some fabric or something. I don't know. We'll see. Or else maybe, I don't know. We put some ribbon on here. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking of what I want to do with this one. I also have this, I think I got these on Etsy, these covers here. This blue is really pretty too, so this might be an option for my brighter journal. And then I was thinking this one might be nice for my sort of shabby style journal. You can see in the camera here, it's kind of a pink and a green with sort of a neutral background. And I thought that was kind of pretty too. This is, I don't know if I've shown this before. Oh, this is another one too. That was kind of nice. It's sort of a, this has sort of a retro look on the front of it too. This was an old photo album that I got at a thrift store. And I was thinking this would be fun to make like a bigger sort of sketchbook style journal with too, but I hadn't, I've been making a lot of cards lately, so I haven't gotten around to prepping any of these, but these are just some ideas I have kind of going on in my head right now. So that's pretty much all I've been working on, mostly cards. I just have, you know, a few more things to put away, and I think I'm going to maybe work a little bit in my collage journal just to kind of clear my head as far as, you know, card making and kind of get some more color inspiration going, and then be ready to kind of start thinking about my next journals. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in my next video.